Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I have an awesome gang of all the different SFs, and I'm gonna have them introduce themselves. So let's start with Sam first. So Sam, go for it, man.
Uh, I forgot my type now. Masculine, feminine. Vacant to blast sleep. Social type is undisclosed, but I'd call myself a number 10.
Okay, and then you're an ESTP jumper. Uh,
Yeah.
let's go next with Hannah.
Yeah, hi, my name is Hannah. I'm an ISTJ jumper, double feminine, Si+Fi, sleep, blast, play, consume, and I'm a number 3.
All right, sweet. And then Maria.
Hi everyone. So I am a standard basic ESFP, SCFI, consume, play, sleep, blast, number 1.
All right, and last but not least, Emmanuel. What is your?
Yeah, hello. So Emmanuel, I'm ISFJ, so double feminine, SIFE, blast, sleep, play, consume last. And if we go around the social type, my guess and my tribe guess is around number 2, but who knows, right?
Right.
We'll see.
All right. So it's good to have you guys again. Not again, but like I've never had Emmanuel in my channel. So welcome, Emmanuel, first time, and then for everyone else, welcome back. My first question to you guys is, how did you guys get together? Like, how did this gang, this SF gang happen? Because you guys have every single different SFs, right? You guys have the SF sleep, SF consume, SF blast, and SF play. So what made you guys decide to make this like Avengers style, gang of like all the different SFs? So like, how did this happen?
There can be multiple different versions, but
I want to hear everyone's
Like
version. I want to hear
four
everyone's version because it might be different. So I want to hear everyone's version.
basically in my head, I saw the Nine show and there were observers. So then I did think about the size show as a comparison. And then when we was in the OP meeting, Maria, when was that again? Was that 3 years ago?
That was 2
years
years ago. So that would have been not the last one, the one before that.
Right, cool, yeah. And then just chilling, and then I realized, oh crap, all these girls are SF. Let me just gather them together. And I played around with the story, and then they were like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, oh crap. And then here we are. That's my version.
We made him do it. He had the idea, and we were like,
I was
yeah,
celebrating initially, but then you lot were like, yeah, let's really do it. And I
let's start tomorrow.
Damn blasters. It's like, let's do this. What are we waiting for? What about the other version? Is that just really what happened? Or
That is one version for sure.
Yeah.
Another version is that we were all a little bit, it was late at night and we had like a nice evening out, and some of us already had consumed some interesting stuff that you can find legally in the Netherlands and not in other countries. So we were just vibing and we started singing just while we were walking down the street at night, and we were like, damn, we all like have this SF thing in common, where even though we're different quadras, we still vibe in the SF in some kind of way. So we started to make up a intro song, which we didn't end up using, but which we thought, man, this works out great. We're a vibe. And yeah, it's also a good excuse to hang out with each other because, you're busy, but then you have a reason to hang out.
yeah.
And I have another version, like, because I wasn't in the street singing with you guys. I didn't know about this story. But what I know is that it's been many years that we hang with each other with the watch party and other time to gather online and talk about our journeys and stuff. So we had this connection already, and it was very nice to get together. And then, the SF show was offered, and was like, yeah, I know these guys, and they're nice, and let's go. It's a good way to work together and see what we can bring. Yeah.
All right, the blast last. He's not saying anything. Got called out.
I remember it as Sam being like we were all high, basically. We were all like super high. And Sam brought up this idea and it's like, let's do the SF show. And then, like Hannah said, we were vibing. We started making up like theme tunes in our head. And it was kind of like a joke. But then like a couple of weeks later, or like a week later, me and Hannah got together and we were like, let's actually, like, we took it so seriously. We took it so like literally. And then we messaged Sam and he was like, oh guys, you know, I was only joking, but let's go along with it. And then we roped Emmanuel into it, and then yeah, that was my version.
That's probably the most accurate version of all of these
Sure.
stories.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I like how it's the people with the TE that like, hey, we can actually make this work, you know?
Yeah.
So can you guys share with me how, even though you guys have SF in a different position, how it still like connected you guys together and like you felt like a connection instantly? You guys like were speaking the same language and you know, it was like completely smooth when you talk to each other. It's not like weird. I mean, maybe it's weird, but I don't know. But like, how do you guys feel a connection? Because like when I talk to other lead NTs also, like I do feel a connection with them. It's like almost instant. Like, oh, I'm like talking their language. I don't have to translate anything for them, right? So how is it for you guys? How like when you're hanging out, vibing, you know, doing whatever you guys are doing in Netherlands, you know? So like, what's like instant connection that you guys feel like when just because you're speaking the same language?
I think it's just fun. It's just, I don't know about you guys, but I just always feel like our conversations are always fun. And it's just easy to talk to you guys because, like you said, we speak the same language. We're always like basically circling around the same few topics of discussion, which are SF related. So it's like, in that sense, we kind of understand each other. Like that's what is usually on our mind, these kinds of like topic subjects. But other than that, because I think we're all like double-sided, so it's just always fun. We just always have a really, really fun time laughing and joking. Yeah, most of us are energy doms, so yeah, it's just always a good time.
Right. Only Sam is the info dom. Like does Sam kind of ruin the vibe a little bit? Just kidding. Just because of the info dom?
No, he would never. Come on, Sam is
the naughtiest one.
That yeah, double activate SF, no way in hell. Especially in a play position. Yeah. But so you guys have it in different positions though, like as mentioned. So do you guys feel like you guys are like curious about each other's like SF kind of like, it's like, you know, like Hannah, for example, it's like it's sleep, right? So it's like concluded, it's organized, you know. While like with Sam, it's like Sam and Maria, it's like the opposite. It's like open, it's like never taking in. And Emmanuel's also concluded, you know, like this is what's proper, you know. So
yeah. Well, for me, it's kind of like, if you remember the cartoon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, how they all have like different relationships with one another. It's kind of like that. So with Maria, I'm like, okay, because we're in the same observers, it's like fast paced, and then we have maybe a natural similar humor, so we're both like quick with it. Then I kind of feel like she tries to out F me, and I'm like, whoa, you kind of need to slow down because I've got FE. With Emmanuel, we both dance in the FE land, but then hers to me feels a bit more like sophisticated with the SI side. And then Hannah, at first I was like, I don't even see your SF. And then I remember like that 2 years ago, then I started seeing it. And I'm like, yeah, you're very, very reserved compared to me. I feel like it's the lady and the tramp kind of thing going on.
That's very well. I think that it's also interesting to understand what other quarters are doing so that you can kind of almost like steal their tools. I don't know. Maybe it's like a very TE way to look at it, but I'm like, oh, maybe you always have something to learn from other people. And as Maria said before, we kind of do look at a similar plane of reality a lot of the time. So we have similar topics, and it's just like interesting to figure out different ways of interpreting them and understanding them. Yeah.
I think sorry, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because we kind of meet on the topics and yeah, the interaction are very nice, and but we all have a way different to look at it, and we can see how our connections can be like. I will connect with Hannah through the SI, like boom, instant. I know her crazy. I got the same, and I connect with Samuel with the FE. Like, yeah, we have the same vibe. Use of the vibe, like to ease every situation and connection somehow, and see the people around those vibes. And with Maria, she has a totally different language, but she's still in a vibe mode, and she's a consumerist. So I will get an inspiration. Like, she's more like a curiosity. Like, she has the good language to help me gather and try to understand a part of the consume. So it's very interesting, and we can see all those blocks playing around with our interactions.
Miss Blast.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Pretty much
There's
just
a
to-
pattern, Maria. There's a pattern.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much just to echo what everyone said. I mean, I have, different connections with everybody, based on obviously the different ways that we express the functions. So like with Hannah, we have kind of like a unspoken FI. We get so deep with the feelings. Every time we talk, it's kind of really emotional. We're just talking about such like, lovey-dovey stuff all the time. And then with Sam, it's like, it's very like me and Sam's language is just flirting. Like, that's just what it is. We're just constantly flirting all the time, but it's like on a like in a humorous way. It's kind of like because we kind of understand that it's kind of just like that's the joke. But then like Emmanuel said, like, because she's blessed savior, like I learn a lot from her, even if like we speak different languages in terms of the functions. Because she's still kind of speaking SF, I can take a lot from her and just like apply that to kind of blast. It's like it's like a missing piece for me with Emmanuel. Like I really learn a lot from Emmanuel. I think with the other two, I kind of like vibe in a different way. But with Emmanuel, I really learn a lot. It's like she's teaching me how to blast just in a way that I will kind of understand it because we're speaking the same like SF language.
Yeah, I think you guys are alien to each other because you have no functions that are shared. So there's no shared language except for the SF, which is cool. So I guess that's like the bridge that you guys can meet, is the SF. With that being said though, because you guys are all lead SFs, right? But the inside is different except for Hannah, obviously. And deep down inside, everyone wants to be seen for their sleep animal, So I kind of want to ask you guys about that because what you portray to the outside world is actually not what you want to be seen for. You want to be seen for what's inside, because that's what means the most, right? So, for example, for Maria, it's NF, Sam is NT, and Emmanuel is ST, right? So, do you guys feel like an inner conflict where you're like seen as like SF, but actually you want to be seen for that sleep animal? So Emmanuel, it would be like, I mean, Emmanuel has it in a savior state, obviously, also sleep. So ST would be tied with competence, NT would be tied with intelligence, figuring things out. NF, it would be being, a philosopher, how deep wisdom, and then SF it's just what me and Hannah have. It's just like, what's cool, what's popular, So in a way, what me and Hannah have is like more shallow, in a way, in some sense, but not really if you go deep into it, because it's all about emotions at the end, right? Like the most important emotion. So how do you guys feel about that? Like knowing that you portray yourself one way to the public, but deep down inside you want to be seen as something and recognized for that thing inside. And maybe we want to go with a blast last first this time, Not to throw you under the bus.
No worries. No, yeah, I definitely feel that. I feel like a lot of my biggest flexes are when I'm, like you said, when I'm doing something that's kind of like wise, or when somebody appreciates or acknowledges that I'm contributing something that's wise or being like philosophical. It actually happened yesterday. Somebody made a compliment and said that I was really wise, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really took it to heart. I was like, thank you, I feel seen. Like, This is exactly how I want to be portrayed. So I definitely resonate with that. It kind of feels like the SF is the role that I have to play, and the role that I may be not realizing that I'm playing unconsciously. I'm just doing that. But I think deep down inside, I think what I take a lot more pride in, and what I want to be, want people to see or acknowledge about me, is when I am, when I'm saying things that are wise, when I am being philosophical, when I'm mystical, and yeah, like, yeah. So I definitely relate to that.
Sweet. Who's next? Let's go with Emmanuel, because she has it in a savior state, that the ST sleep world of competence.
Yeah. I'd say first that I don't think I really want to be seen.
Oh,
Something like that.
okay.
Like it is not something that I look for, but you're right. If I want to be seen, it will be about what I can bring to the tribe. And luckily, or not, I don't know, but my sleep is kind of a process that is serving my blast. Like I'm full OI. Like if there is a difficulty for the tribe, then I will bring it to my processing machine and, try to find the best OI. So full of it. So it is a way I would contribute, but I will obviously would hide, because like to process, I need info, and I get the information through the tribe. So if I can process information and then come up with a good OI for the tribe, it will be regarding the good tribe that give me good infos. So like, it's not only me, and it's always a tribe work,
So you don't want to be seen for being like hardworking and stuff. For Sam, because I want to use Tom Cruise as an example, because he has that ST sleep, right? And he really takes his job seriously as an actor. Like he never makes bad movies, because he really takes his role very seriously. And he doesn't let other people do the stunts. He wants to do the stunts himself, because he wants to be like the most competent and hardworking person for whatever role that he's taking in. So I understand that you're serving the tribe, but is there a part of you that takes pride in like,
yeah, I think I'm
hard
good
worker?
at it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see. Gotcha. Okay, there we go. That was what I was looking for. Sam, what about you, man?
Nowadays, I guess with the NT sleep, it's like it's just for me. So if you notice it, happy days. If you don't, that's cool, because I just prove it to myself from the job that I'm trying to do. So on that side, I'm like, okay, if the SF is on point and it works in reality with the whole ST and NF, then it means the sleep was on point for it to get the whole like quadruple factor with it. So it doesn't bother me if people don't realize it, because it's more of an internal satisfaction for myself.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. With you guys with a TI, you don't need it to be seen, eh? Oh, that's so interesting. What about you, Hannah?
I don't know. I feel like, to be quite honest, I don't, because maybe it's because I've sleep first.
Right.
I don't, frankly, can I swear on here? Just so
As much as you want. As much as you want.
I don't give a shit if people care about my sleep, if they appreciate it, because I have way too much of it. And I also think that sleep without the consume it's honestly trash. It's not that powerful without the consume. So I personally, to twist your question, unfortunately,
Yeah.
I will do that. I think that I would feel a lot more seen if someone saw my consume and appreciated that, because my sleep, I'm like, of course, well, it's there all the time. No one gives a shit. It's like I can hand it out like candy. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. So for some of you guys, you prefer to be seen by your last animal than your sleep animal. So that's super interesting. This leads me to my next question. So, you're so let me know how you feel about this statement, okay? I want to hear everyone's opinion on this. Your SF is only as good as your NT, and for you, it's because they're in the same axis. For example, so NT, so ST and NF are in the same axis, and NT and SF are in the same axis, and they kind of balance each other out, right? You know, like if you're 2 SF, or sorry, if you're 2 NT, but there's no SF, then whatever NT that you figured out, no one gives a shit because it's not SF cool enough or popular enough, and the tribe doesn't value it, right? But vice versa. Sometimes you're all gathering the SF, but like what's the point of it, right? So you know, like what's the reason? Like, so what do you guys take on it? So 3 out of 4 of you guys have it last, and only Hannah has it activated in the first 3. So I want to hear you guys' perspective on like the imbalance of it and what you've seen in yourself, and what you feel could improve, or what you think could improve if you had a little bit more NT to balance that SF and NT axis a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna go with Hannah first because she has it activated in her first 3, so it's already balanced in like as balanced as it could be. So Hannah, what's going on there for you?
Yeah, first I want to say, actually, the way that you just explained that there, like your hypothesis there, I think it's really smart. I think it makes a lot of sense to think about the they both have like the lower quality one, the lower skilled one is going to also direct the other one now. I don't feel like, I feel very attracted to NT functions, and it's something that I've spent a lot of time, for example, in my field, in my career, in my university degree, actually consuming in a way, or just like it has been a big part of my career path. So I feel like in my job, I think probably the main thing that I do in my job, reason why I can help people, is because I can do both for them, because in my field I need both. And I think, yeah, it makes sense. Whereas with the ST and the NF, I feel like I struggle a lot more with kind of not getting them out of balance, and people thinking, why all of this ST? What's the point of this? Yeah, for sure. I think that makes sense.
All right. Thanks, Hannah. That's really good. I think it might be a little bit easier for you also because your NT is in a play state. So sharing that NT, you know, doing tribe collaboration to find solutions is not going to be the hardest thing in the world because it's in a play position. Let's go with the next person here. Who wants to share their NT next? I know it's private for a lot of you guys, but what do you guys take on it? Especially Sam, NT sleep. That's like the most private. We'll go to him last then in that case. Let's go with Maria first then. NT blast. So yours is kind of like Dave and Chance, you know. Yeah. So you're giving solutions to the tribe essentially that you've already organized. That's a catch, right?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with your theory, as Hannah put it. I feel like it means a lot more when you have the direct opposite coins like the SF and the NT, and it's last, because there's an additional satisfaction that comes from having figured out the NT and using that alongside with your SF. So I just feel like naturally when the opposite animal is last to your first, is the last one to your first one, I think there's going to be an additional satisfaction that comes with doing that. So having said that, I definitely do find that I am a lot happier when I am complementing my SF with my NT, because I often find that I'm not really consuming the things that I want to consume if I'm not doing the NT. Like if I haven't done the work to get it all together and just be a bit more refined with the things that I'm consuming, then I end up just consuming things that I don't want. So I end up not being satisfied with the things that I'm taking in. Whereas when I'm doing the blast and I've kind of, you know, been a little bit more stricter in what I'm taking in, and I've put in the work to kind of make that happen, I find that my consume is a lot more satisfactory. Like an example of that would be like, you know, a simple example would be like foods that I eat. If I'm just consuming for the sake of consuming, like just doing it on overdrive, I end up eating things that I don't really want to be eating, things that just make me miserable. And then I end up wanting to consume more because I'm not really satisfied. Whereas if I do the work, if I do the NT beforehand, like meal prepping, for example, and I'm very, very strict on what I'm eating, and I make sure I have a plan as to like where I'm going to get this, then I know that when I actually do the consume, when I sit down and actually eat the meal, it's going to be something that I actually want to eat, and that's going to be satisfactory for me in the end because I've actually thought about this. So I do find that yes, without the NT, I'm not happy. I'm not consuming the things that I really want to consume.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing that, Maria. What about you, Emmanuel? You have anti-consume, and it's double masculine, so it's like super aggressive also. So there's like a gravitational pull that like kind of like there's like almost like a whisper in your ear saying, "Hey, you need to do this," and you're like, "Shut up," you know? It's like so. Can you share a little bit about that? And because your consume is NT, technically solutions would come from an external source. You know, so whenever you have a problem, the best solution technically should come from an external source, kind of like what INTPs do. You know, like Bill Gates, for example, he's an INTP, same NT consume as you, and he reads one book a day, right? So, you know, that's how he has so many solutions, right? So how do you feel about NT consume? When does it come out? And what will it take for you to finally like listen to that whisper to use it?
Well, those are great questions. Thank you. Really, because those are questions that I don't ask myself. That's part of the thing. I don't know, I will rumble around it, okay, because I didn't think about it before. So what I would like to say is I think there is kind of the illusion of a balance because it is double masculine. So it makes me very stubborn, like you will not walk on my toes. And there's like, I know about it. What I think is I want to take those functions separately, like the NE, demon NE masculine for self means that I have all those crazy ideas of outcomes that will pop in my mind and that I had to make peace with that. Like, I know I will think of the craziest outcome of every situation. So I didn't, it's like an example. I didn't make the work of understanding all of that situation, but I did the work of how to cope with this situation, you know? So I do not expand my understanding and therefore resolved it somehow. But everyone's freeze. Is it me? No, it's okay.
I think you're frozen because everyone else is, but we can hear you. So.
Okay.
You're back. You're unfrozen.
Yeah. Woo! For some very interesting matters. And so yeah, I'm sorry to give an example of this, but it's like not proceeding, not going to explore, I just gather experiences and know how to change or adapt in my real world to, cope with that. But, I'm not solving anything. I just change the self to go around this shit. I love to curse too.
Cursing is welcome.
I think the masculine NE demons make me think big summarization, like everything is possible. You don't know the shit. And that's it. I will not go further because everything is possible and you don't know shit. And so why bother? So it makes me very comfortable with not knowing shit because like all the mysteries of the universe, you will not solve them. And I learned the easy way, I guess, how to be comfortable with all those mysteries. For me, when I bring those together, so the consume last is not having the fresh angle to see myself, and it's really not taking the time, because the fresh angle could be in concept, but in reality too. But you're so right when you talk about this whisper, like you should do that. That could seem a whisper of blast, like you should, but you're not doing it. But it's kind of the same, but for self. Like there is a you should, but I'm not doing it. I'm not taking the time for self. I'm not taking the responsibility to expand the self. But thanks for all the tribe and the work that we are doing here. I guess I'm trying to muscle this little baby consuming tea. Yeah.
I love that point that you said that it's impossible to learn all the mysteries in the universe. So what's the point? Like that's so good. It's because it's true. Like I can't argue with that, right? Like I do have a point to add on to that later on though. But I want to go with Sam first before I go to the follow-up question about this. So Sam, man, you got the NT sleep here. So figuring things out is super personal to you, you know. Like this the problem solving part, you know. You have it last, but you're aware, and you've been aware for many years. And you know, the more I talk to you, the more it seems like you're actually working on it. Where are you at with that now? And like, does it still feel very personal? You know?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, it's very personal. It's like if I've got any problems, it feels like actually if I actually slow down, there's no one else that really can solve it for me. These are like internal the mainframe components that you need to repair yourself. And then it naturally translates into, if you understand my type a little bit more, then you'll get the whole self-discipline being very serious. So my NT comes off cross like in 30 Bible commandments for me just to slow down to operate on how I do things. And then naturally, the more I figure it out with the NI stuff, it just makes life a bit more easier for myself and even for clients as well. So your hypothesis about the whole SF and NT, yeah, I've known that for a while, but I guess for me, it's never really the knowing. It's like, okay, go back to your concepts and keep using them. So they're kind of like the lighthouse in the sky when you feel lost. So that's been the repetitive journey, especially for this year as doing the bodybuilding competition, which I knew this was going to happen, but it's purposely had to slow me down to where, because I've been starving myself. So then I can touch onto the ethereal plane of what the NT sleep is and just go, okay, that's what it is. Just repeat that at a minuscule level. That's it.
I like how you actually use N in that example. Like it wasn't bullshit. It was real. When you were using the analogy with the lighthouse in the sky thing, that's an analogy, which I think is super cool that you actually utilize that. So you're not BSing that you're using your N. You are actually using it. My follow-up question to you guys is: are you guys familiar with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Of course, how could we not?
Yeah, of course. No, just making sure. So as you guys know, you know, like SF is very animalistic, right? It's like all our animalistic needs is in the SF, right? Like what makes you feel good, you know, food, shelter, clothing, you know, procreation, that's all SF, right? And then ironically, the top, you know, self-actualization, that's NF, right? So we start with F and we end in F, right? And in the middle is like the T, you know, like respect is very T, right? For example, like especially for the TIs. With that being said, if SF and NF is the end goal, right? You know, making sure that everything's okay in an animalistic sense, but also in a self-actualizing sense. If SF is the goal, then ST and NT is the vehicle to get you there, essentially, right? So to give you an example, if you want to feel secure, then you need to save money, which is very ST, right? ST consume, if anything, because you're trying to gather money, and then maybe ST sleep to save it up and protect it, you know, like, you know, hoard it, right? Now,
I wish.
you
Sorry.
you wish. Well, you have feminine SI, so it's a little bit different.
I lost the money. It's gone.
Yeah, feminine SI. It's like, where did it go? But like, so, and then NT is like the shortcut. It's like how to get there even faster. Because ST, in my opinion, is a little bit too slow, right? Like, if I'll give you guys an example. So if the end goal for everyone of all of us here that's talking right now is SF, having a house, the perfect partner, career that makes us feel fulfilled, and like an end of life where we feel like we look back in our life and we feel good that we've achieved all the things that we've achieved and build a relationship that we want to build, and just have a good life in general. SF's all about feeling good, right? At the end. So at the end, we're just chasing dopamine highs, but also a sense of feeling of fulfillment. However, if you just use ST, it's so damn slow, and I'll give you guys a concrete example. So do you guys know where the Maldives is?
Sorry?
What?
The Maldives. Have you guys heard of that country?
Maldives. Yeah, Maldives. Yeah.
Yeah, the overwater bungalow with all the rich people go and stuff. So so my bucket list was, I'll use this as an example. So my bucket list was to go there, right? But it's $1,000 per night minimum to stay at those overwater bungalow, right? At least. So I'm using US dollars here. So about $1,000 US per night, right? So convert that to euros for you guys, and pounds for Sam and Maria. But like, so if you save up money, like how many years will it take you to go there? So let's say you want to stay for 5 nights, right? So that's at least 5,000 US dollars, and that's excluding the airfare and the accommodation. But if you use NT, you can get there without saving barely any money, because I'm not here to brag or anything. I'm just giving you an example, because I'm lead NT, so it's like normal for me. So for me, I want to take my girlfriend there, and we actually went there last year. I actually did an interview with 2 people while I was in the Maldives last year, and I just thought, using my NT, how can I get there without saving money? You're like, things like, what? That doesn't make any sense, but it makes perfect sense, because I was like, I'm gaming the system. It's like, okay, you can go to the Maldives if you get credit cards with big sign up welcome bonus points, and then you can use those points to get a free night stay at those overwater bungalow in the Maldives, and you can use those points to get a flight there, and altogether, instead of paying $5,000 or more just to stay there, you can pay $500 for the flight and accommodation, which is what I did. So I just paid $500 and I stayed there for 1 week with my girlfriend. And so that's like the power NT, right? So to get there faster. So knowing, so I'm bribing you guys, by the way. I'm bribing you guys. This is exactly what I'm up to. So knowing that the end goal in life is SF, which is the animalistic stuff, and also the fulfillment stuff with the NF. Does that motivate you more to use the NT to come up with creative solutions to feel better, faster, and get the fulfillment that you desire even quicker? Because the solution to your problem can be solved with the NT. So
could it be that is because you're FI, that you think of it more in terms of the end goal is to feel good, because we're on the FI axis? Maybe it's different for people on the TI axis. I'm not sure. I'm just like wondering.
Well, it could be, but I'm just saying SF is the animalistic side, and NF is the self-actualization side of things.
Yeah.
And those are both F, so you can't.
And in the hierarchy, it's the lowest and the highest. That's why
they're both Fs. They're both Fs. The middle is the S and the NT and the ST. Essentially, you could say. And then the journey there requires ST and NT to get there. So you can't get to one to the other without those two, the ST and NT. They're both important, because if you don't have ST, you get nothing done also. You're just smart, but you get there's nothing happens in reality, right? So which is also bad. So you need all four animals essentially, right? So what are you guys' thoughts on that? When it comes to starting off with your animalistic needs and going all the way to self-fulfillment, self-actualization. No one will actually ever hit self-actualization, but it's a journey towards there. That gives you that sense. That's why it's NF, right? That gives you that energy, that sense of purpose and mission. And all you guys, you have NF in a different position also, right? Like Emmanuel has it in play. So she already kind of talked about it earlier, but everything that she does is for the tribe, right? But it makes sense because for her, NF play means like doing stuff with people is how you get that sense of purpose and meaning, you know? Well, for Maria, it's sleep. Like you kind of came up with it yourself, right? In Hannah, it's consume, you know, and Samuel, it's blast. So blast is teaching. So when Sam teaches the tribe, that's when he gets a sense of meaning and purpose, you know? So I know it's a kind of like convoluted question. There's like so many parts moving, but you guys get it. So what's that?
It's a playful question. Makes sense.
Yeah. I'm wrapping up all this different concept, but like the sole purpose is like, I guess we could say it's like, how are you guys using all your functions to go from animalistic needs and working your way up towards self-actualization, or at least having a fulfilling life?
Well, I guess for me, I kind of just make it simple. When you remember, what's his name? Dave Powers, when he had one of those old videos about like the function flow stack stuff.
Yep.
So I just do it with the temperaments. I'm like, okay, cool. So based on me, if it don't look nice, I better think twice, because for me to make it look nice in the outside world, I have to make sure that I slow down and do all the necessary steps. So that means, does it actually work for me? And then before I even go to the NF, if it works for me now, is that going to work for me long term? So I think about all the potential ways it might not work. And then the hobby function, the NF blast, I'm like, listen, dude, I'm telling you the simplicity of it, which you don't think is important, but is very important. Once you get that, the keys are opened. And that's essentially how it works for me, like in every damn area of my life, where the more I NT stuff, the more I start selling the value of it. And then it just flows well. So fundamentally, I do agree with you on the whole. Sorry, what was your question again?
Well, the journey is from the animalistic SF stuff to self-fulfillment and self-actualization. So for you specifically, do you feel that sense of fulfillment when you're kind of taking your blast and you're sharing the NF blast to the tribe?
No, it's for me, it's just when I know I've got processes that will work till the end of time, because I understand that you'd be a fool to think that life is going to be perfect. It's how you react when you get hit by the punches, essentially. That's what I have satisfaction in.
That sounded like NF blast.
Yeah, that's how it comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like Rocky Balboa stuff, right? It's like how much you can get. It's about how much you can get hit, not how much you can hit.
It's the same story, just in my head, which I'm not explaining the supposedly intricacies, but that's how it comes out. My sessions, you're like, dude, you're a philosopher. This is a therapy session, like all the time. So
right.
It's how it flows, man.
It comes with a job, man. It comes with a job.
Yeah, this is how it is. I've accepted.
Yeah. What about you guys? I'll leave it to Emmanuel, because Emmanuel's in deep thought right now, so I'll leave her alone for now. Let's go with Hannah for this one.
Well, I think that, so if we take your theory, I have the exact like function stack that would align with that theory. So I think it makes sense, right? That I would do it that way, the way you described, go from the SF to the ST to the NT to the NF. I think for me personally, it has made a big difference learning my social type. I know this is controversial and some people are like, the social type doesn't actually help you that much. For me, that has definitely not been the case. I found it very helpful in terms of understanding the map, like the entirety of OPS, right? It's about what does the map look like of my own brain, people's brains, what is actually like relevant to human beings. And I feel like the social type understanding that has really helped seeing the map better. Giving it an entirely new dimension, so that I now even know what I could consume in, you know, kind of expanding, like in a conceptual way, where I could consume. And that gives me the greatest satisfaction, learning about a new thing that actually changes me. So yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, it works that way.
All right, sweet Hannah. Yours is actually the exact lineup too, you know. It's like
Yeah.
SF, SD, NT, and NF. You have the exact, like, you're just following your animal stack essentially. And,
Yeah,
and it's
for
like
sure.
and it's like it's like the perfect path to follow. What about you, Maria?
Yeah, I was questioning the order of mine a little bit because I think mine is a little bit complicated in the sense because it is NF sleep. It's both the destination and it's also part of the journey. Because I think if I was to go in the order of my function stack, like for me to be able to like, you know, start from the SF and then go through all of my function stacks, you know, go through the play, the sleep, the blast, and then to come back all the way around, I think part of that process has to involve the sleep. So at some point throughout the journey, I have to be having moments of, because I'm seeing like what the self-actualization, I'm seeing it as like contentment, peace with oneself. And so for me in particular with the NS sleep, in order for me to be able to function and kind of go all the way around again, and for me to be able to be in a state where I can actually bring myself to be able to carry out all of these things, I kind of need to have moments of peace and contentment along the way, and then go back all the way around to get all of the SF and to get all the NT, and then for me to feel like I'm at peace ultimately at the end of my life. So I think that for me, the self-actualization, I think it's as much as part of the journey for me as it is the end goal. Because I can't really move myself forward in life if I am not content or if I am not in good spirits. And yes, that takes a lot of like NT for me to be able to figure out, okay, what is required for me to be in a very good state, for me to be able to move forward up the hierarchy. So I kind of need to be in a good emotional state for me to do that. But at the same time, once I've gone through that journey, at the end of it, hopefully that will mean that ultimately I will have self-actualized. So I don't know. I feel like for me, the self-actualizing it's part of the journey, because I can't really move forward in my life if I'm not having moments where I am motivating myself or feeling content or just feeling good in spirits, because there's no way that I am going to be able to get up and do the NT or do any of the ST anyway if I'm not already feeling good, if I'm not already in a state of peace or contentment.
Yeah, I think the NF sleep is BS, honestly, because it's almost cheating. Like, you don't need any outside source for it. Like, it comes from inside, the motivation, you know, like David Goggins, for example, you know, like, you know, he goes for like the runs every morning, and it's like the battery comes from inside. Like, everyone else's NF is kind of BS. We have to get it from like an external source. It's just so annoying, you know. You know. So anyways, let's go with Emmanuel, last but not least.
You have something to say, Samuel?
He's like, it's fucking bullshit, man. I have to get it from outside. You motherfuckers got it inside. I'm jealous. That's what I'm hearing, man. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, so I still need to answer this multiverse question. Okay. I really never saw it that way. Like, even the pyramid of Maslow and the stack of animals and stuff like that. I think I'm trying to see, like, okay, the SF rule within me is have the best day you can, and if you add up when you die, you had a good life. Okay, that's easy. So just try to have the best
like
day
that. That's
each
good.
day.
That's good. Yeah,
Day.
it's a little bit
So,
ST. So, but it's good though.
yeah, it is very. So, like, I think what's interesting with having those lens of seeing ourselves is a new way to see where the discomfort and the contradictions that we have daily could come from. And it is a way to solve it or work at it. Like, I'm consume last, but I get a little bit of glance of consume just by this metacognition of seeing myself being within the world, and that's it. But in the way I live my life, I think I stick to my rule. Like, I'm trying to have the best day, and it is a way to put your eyes to the world that makes it happen, even if it's shit that goes through you on this day or this hour. Is the matter of how you take this shit and how you see it as an opportunity, not a failure, but let's go, a challenge. But you still have a moment that you can rant about it, and you rant or cry about it, and then you go say more. So I have no clue if I answered all your fucking questions.
It's all good.
But I'm not sure I understood, but this is what I'll say.
No, I love your perspective. I've never heard anyone say it that way before, and I think it's like the first positive truth bomb I've ever heard. Usually, when someone tells like TI truth, something harsh or painful, but like yours is kind of in a positive light when you said that, as long as you have more good days than bad days, you have a good life. That's I think that's a positive truth bomb. I mean, it's still objective, but it's also true. So my last question to you guys, just to wrap up this little discussion that we have here, is so you guys came together to build this SF super team, and then you have like a YouTube channel for it. So you guys can anyone watching this can check out their channel. What's your channel? Is it called again? Can you guys tell me the channel?
SF show.
The SF show. Okay.
Sure.
Oh, so you just copied the 9 show almost? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Okay.
no there's no.
We have no imagination.
There's no creativity. It's so basic.
Shout out to the 9 show. You
the
guys are
basic
the
B
best.
channel. Just kidding. You should call it the basic B channel. Just kidding.
Basic. Yeah, we're kind of a B channel, so that would fit.
But anyways, so what's the purpose of your channel? Is it just to hang out, like as pals, or is it like you guys want to? I like looking at you guys. You probably have different opinions, because like Maria's a number 1, for example, but like everyone else is like a number 3 or number 2. So do you guys have a purpose for your group, or is there a place to hang out and like kind of share what SF life is like, or do you guys have like bigger aspirations for it?
It's my scheme to get people into my coaching. That's what the master plan is for me. No, I'm joking. Essentially, first, for me, it just started off as something fun and give people a raw experience of what SF is about, rather than from just the theoretical side, so you can see it in each and every one of us. And now for me, it's like, okay, Sam, usually you jump off right about now, so use it as a test to keep doing it while you deal with other areas in life and learn to juggle multiple things.
Oh, I see. So for you, it's like an EP exercise to stay within something.
Yeah, well, life is always you can't expect life just to be one simple thing. You have to multitask. It's like when someone gets promoted in the job or the military, you don't just look at the person who's good at the job. You look at the person who's good at the job and can do other things.
Right.
So
right. That's cool. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah, my answer is a lot less friendly.
This is the one I want to hear.
For me, to be honest, it felt like a good opportunity to I mean, obviously I do get a lot of like friend time with it, and it's fun, and I do like, it is an enjoyable experience. And I always come out of it like really happy to see you guys and just vibing with you guys. But I think for me, what I saw it as when Sam brought it up, I saw it as a good opportunity for me to exercise some skills, because there is a lot of like, I think opportunities for me to exercise some like team building skills, some like blast maybe, because you know we talk about the topics that we discuss beforehand, and then I have to kind of like, you know, give an answer and prepare my answer beforehand. So for me, it was a good opportunity for me to practice some skills that I had been missing, and it's also a good way for me to stay accountable, because oftentimes when I'm just doing it by myself, especially with the tribe stuff and the friend stuff, I tend to not think about that until the very, very last minute. Whereas, you know, because I'm working with other people in the group, I have to kind of stay accountable to you guys. So I have to show up and I have to make sure that I'm doing the job like well and properly. So I think it's a good way for me to practice my skills, the ones that I'm missing, but just in a way that is very accountable, because it's not just me that's relying on this, the output of this. It's you guys, it's also, you know, our viewers and things like that. So it's a good way for me to stay accountable to the skills that I'm trying to build.
Yeah, and Maria is for sure also in this group the number one. Maria, I see her as really, if there's a leader here, it is Maria, because she's the most, she takes the most responsibility and vision in this group. So I think it's actually really impressive for someone with blast last. If you have a number one and they are blast last, you kind of have a bit of a one up, and it's beautiful to see. So I think it's very admirable.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Maria took over the organization of scheduling this meeting, for example, because originally me and Hannah were talking.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened, and Maria
responsibility
took over. Maria took over,
and
and I was like, this must be the number one in action. Like she's like, I'm taking control, you know, like.
Oh my God, I hijacked it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's also because Maria, when you asked, I brought the question to the tribe, and I think some people here had a strong opinion in the sense that we should do it, and others were like, yeah, whatever. And I was one of these people who were like, yeah, whatever. And Maria was like, no, I think we should really do this. So she kind of took the reins. You see how it works. So it's kind of like, I have a vision for this, and so I'm gonna like move it there. Whereas I was like, I don't know, we'll see. We don't have to do it now. I don't fucking know what I will do tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so interesting. That's so interesting. I love it. What about you, Emmanuel?
I think it's great to have this tribe dynamic, to be together, to talk and see how we see things, and we try to make it happen, and to see everyone trying other positions. Like I do not blast. I'm like putting some chaos in the tribe sometimes. I'm most of the time not ready, and it is nice to be in a safe place to try those things, and you know, and I do care about what else. I quote someone, what gems she will recognize herself, what gems can be brought with all these situations, those you know, those interactions. We commit, but we put it easy on ourselves too, like we all have lives and stuff. So but we commit, and there is a lot of interesting going on there. So and we do hope that if anyone watches, they do get some gems too, like we do.
Yeah, for sure. There's lots of gems. Like I'm talking to you guys, I've gotten so much gems from you guys just talking like in this like 1 hour. So we'll wrap up the talk here. I'll share the link to your YouTube channel after this video ends in the description. So people who don't follow the SF show can follow you guys. And thanks for coming out and sharing more about yourself. And yeah, we'll wrap it up here. I'll stop recording now.
Thank you. Bye.
Good luck, Henrik.
Savor the flavor.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.